In this next session, we will talk about ways to make research results accessible in different ways and understandable for wider audiences. But let's talk about some other relevant types of scholarly communication. Because the transition towards open science also involves different ways of scholarly communication processes, whereby we try to refer to wider groups of audiences. Mentioned it a couple of times during the seminar, is that in the transition towards open science, a clear perspective on how science could interact and interrelate with wider society and its different stakeholders within that is considered an important part of the transition. Some newer forms of scholarly communications are open by nature, for example blog posts or podcasts, as are published via internet. But also other types of scholarly communication that are related to policy involve the rethinking of the closeness, openness format of the whole element of the governance of science. If you think about, for example, co-created policy documents or commissioned reports, what can we do to make these open for a wider audience in order to be used by more people that might be interested in these kind of things. Another thing that we have to think about is, and I refer to it as a common misunderstanding, is that open access or open science very often is being interpreted as a different way of organizing scholarly communication, which is sometimes interpreted as organizing science communication differently. However, wouldn't it be better if we reconsider how we can communicate with society at large? Like I said, this is an important element of the transition, and what role can academics play themselves in an improvement of the communication with wider society, and also what role can Research Council Norway and NWO play in organizing this differently? Could it be part where you could play a role in yourselves? So, as a teaser, call it the soapbox, where academics can get into conversation with society. And staying close to myself, I try to be as good as possible, get on that soapbox to try to talk to people about the research that we do and what it might mean for them. Last week, for example, I was involved in the Healthy Society event at Leiden University, where we showed to interested people, colleagues from within university, but also people from the municipality, about what social scientists can actually do for wider society and how we can play a role in improving healthy society elements. Another thing we have in Leiden is what is translated in English the Night of Discoveries, where the university talks to people from the city of Leiden, where the cultural sector as well as the academic sector try to explain to lay people what we actually do and what we can do to improve and challenges that are raised in the interaction between academia and society. In this section, we would like to talk about linking the product publication as a metaphor to the product of data, because it's important to realize that we are now discussing in this seminar the opening up the end result of the knowledge creation process in written forms, and actually we can say that this is well on its way. In the first breakout room, we talked about what level of open access is reached, and I think in the Netherlands we can say that journal publishing is somewhere between 70 to 80% of all papers are open access, and Norway has a similar percentage. So that's actually rather well developed. However, it is the result of a process, and part of the process we also discussed. For example, the pre-registration part is part of the process of knowledge creation, and what can you do to make that more transparent. So pre-registrations cover the study design, hypothesis, and expected outcomes, but the actual process and the results that will be discussed in Seminar 3. So in Seminar 3, my colleagues Ludo Waldman and André Brazil will talk to you about research data, about open source, so talk about the FAIR principles. They introduce EOS to you and other ways to better understand the whole process of knowledge creation.